Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Prismari Performance! Hi peeps and welcome back to CRACH. Today we're going to look, as I said before, at Prismari Performance, one of the new 2021 commanders. And this one is gonna be quite a show, so I would say let's go. We got the new deck of Prismari Performance, so let's open it. So as I said before, I really like the new boxes, really easy to open, and yeah, let's take a look. What else do we have? Cardboard. So we got the art right here as well of the front card. Interesting thing about this card is we will look at it straight away, but there is actually a typo in the card itself. On the card, on the advertisement, it's everywhere. Then we got the new deck box, useful for new players, of course. It can fit in a 100 sleeved card, but not double sleeved cards, so just keep that in mind. Life counter, always useful as well. A little pamphlet. Then here we got the first special card, so we don't have the oversized cards anymore, but we got these display cards. And something very important to remember is that you can't play with these cards because those are way thicker. So let me open the tokens to show you the difference of thickness. Gonna take a random token. Yeah, so this is like the normal cards. Try to show you, like you can clearly see a big difference. They do have the same size, but it's like the thickness that is very different. So just keep that in mind. You can play these, but they're just fun to display. So yeah, that's a nice thing. Like, I don't think many people were using the oversized card, so I don't think that many people are bothered by that. If you were one of those 10 people, I'm sorry for you. Then of course you got the tokens, and then the deck itself with the 100 cards. There are gonna be a lot of new cards that we haven't seen before. Cards that are gonna be exclusive for this deck, but also cards that are from the new set of Strixhaven. So that's really interesting that they are also gonna be in this deck. Because here we got the new commander. So there are gonna be two foiled cards, but we're gonna look at the first one, and that is Zaffai, Thunder Conductor. Remember this name, Conductor. It might be important later on. So it's a legendary creature, human shaman. So for 4 mana, a 1/4 that has Magecraft. So what does Magecraft do? Whenever you cast or copy an instance or sorcery spell, scry 1. Really useful. But then, if that spell's mana value is 5 or greater, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. So you are gonna be able to create tokens. That is already pretty nice. I gotta say 5 mana or higher is a pretty steep mana value. So I'm sure that this deck is gonna work around that. But yeah, the cheap mana cost spells are not gonna trigger. But they will still trigger with the scry 1. So still, whatever you cast, you're gonna be able to scry 1. That's pretty powerful on its own. But then there is more. If that spell's mana value is 10 or greater, Zaffai's Thunder Collector deals 10 damage to an opponent chosen at random. So, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care about the last part. 10 mana or greater is pretty much insane. Like, how many 10 mana or greater spells are we going to cast? And if you're already casting them, you should already be winning. You shouldn't need even more help. And then the reward is that you can do 10 damage at random at one of your opponents. So you cannot pick, except if it's a 1v1, of course. Yeah, there is only one option, so you're gonna hit the one guy. I really like the foil of this card. It looks really good. But the problem with this card is that many people are already talking about this, is that there is actually error in this card. So the name of the card is Zaffai Thunder Conductor, but at the end of the card it says Zaffai Thunder Collector, deals 10 damage. So that's a mistake by Wizards of the Coast, but they already noticed us that the real name is the correct name is Zaffai Thunder Conductor and not Collector. So the final part is wrong, and you can read this card as Zaffai Thunder Conductor here as well. Otherwise, it wouldn't trigger because this card wouldn't exist, and then the 10 damage wouldn't happen because there is no card with the name Zaffai Thunder Collector. So very important. If people are being annoying by that, it's a mistake by Wizards of the Coast, and they already updated us that Thunder Conductor is the correct name. So that's already a big start of this whole deck. It's on the box, it's on the card itself, so really annoying. But it's fine. Like, it doesn't hurt anyone, in my opinion. Then next we got another foiled card, and this one looks beautiful. I really like this card, and this one's for 3 mana, 1 blue, 1 red. Bayran, Voice of Duality. She looks amazing. So it's a legendary creature, a freed wizard. I can't remember seeing other Afrids of Afrids. I don't even know how to pronounce it, to be honest, but yeah, she's here. And let's take a look. So Magecraft, then we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. Bayran, Voice of Duality, gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So you can pump her up every time when you play a spell. If you casting or copying an instance or sorcery spell cause a trigger ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. That's interesting. I can definitely see a deck working around this card. So yeah, which one of these two would you play? This one is tougher, because both are doing something different, but the trigger effects are being triggered at the same time. I gotta say, it's way easier to build a deck around her, because yeah, she doesn't require any special kind of mana cost, and with him you really need to look at what are the mana costs. So yeah, those are the two new foiled commander options that you got for this deck. Really great cards, I gotta say. So let me know which one of these are you going to play. I'm not going to talk about every single card in this deck, but I will take a glance at all the new cards. And we actually start with a new one, and that is Dazzling Phoenix. Pretty good card, definitely not bad. So it's for 5 mana, Flying Sphinx, 4/5. Whenever Dazzling Sphinx deals combat damage to a player, that player exile cards from the top of their library until they exile an instance or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then that card plays here puts the exile card that weren't cast this way on the bottom of their library in any order. Pretty good. If you can attack with this one, you are gonna be able to play instants and sorceries for free from your opponent's deck. So yeah, strong, really good. Okay, Inspiring Refrain, sorcery for 6 mana. So one thing to notice is that a lot of the cards in this deck are gonna be very expensive because they want to be triggered with Zaffai, so that he can do the 5 mana value or the 10 mana value. So just keep that in mind. So this one says draw 2 cards, exile Inspiring Refrain with 3 time counters on it. To spend 3, that's really cool. You can keep doing this, that's actually really good. Okay, cool card. Muse Vortex, another new card. X blue sorcery. Exile the top X cards of your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value X or less from among them without paying its mana cost. Then put the exile instant and sorcery card that weren't cast this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. I gotta say, all these new cards are literally like reading a novel by now. Like, I'm glad that Wizard of the Coast doesn't have more plays, because they would add even more text. I'm telling you, at the end of this, they're just gonna put a link to the website where you can read the novel of what this card actually does. That's gonna be the next step, right? Maybe a QR code that you can like scan your card and then you can start reading what your card actually does. Oh, please, don't do it. Don't do it. Octavia, Living of Thesis. This card is really fun. I really like this one. Also a new card, so it's a legendary creature elemental octopus. For 10 mana, 8 gray, 2 blues. So let's look at this card. Legendary creature elemental octopus for 8/8. An 8/8. This spell costs 8 less to cast if you have 8 or more instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Ward 8. So ward means that your opponents can't trigger and remove this card unless they pay 8 mana to target this one. So he's gonna be warded, he's gonna be protected unless they pay 8 mana. So that's pretty insane. So target removal is not gonna work for this one unless they want to pay 8 mana and then cast the card to remove it. So I don't think that's gonna happen, to be honest. I don't see people doing this. But anyway, it's possible. And then Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, target creature has base power and toughness 8/8 until end of turn. Whew. That's a lot of text. Wait, I see a lot of 8s. How many 8s are in this card? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my god, there are 8 8s on this card. I love that. That's flavor. That's a lot of flavor for an octopus. They went all out with the number 8. I like this. I like this. Fun card. Fun card. Quite expensive, but as you can see, you can make this one really cheap. Like mid game, you already cost 8 spells, so you can literally play this one for 2 mana if you play the deck correctly. So yeah, that's great. Sly Instigator, another new card. Jesus Christ, so many new cards. So for 1 blue, you can tap this one until your next turn. Target creature and opponent control can't be blocked. Goat that creature. Dude, this might be my favorite new goat card. This one is insane. So you're literally gonna target the strongest creature on the board. That creature is gonna become unblockable. If it's able to attack, it will have to attack one of your opponents. Damn, that's spicy. That's really, really spicy. Creative Technique, another new card for 5 mana sorcery. Demonstrate. When you cast this spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Oh boy. So you can cast it once, and then you can cast it again, but one of your opponents will also cast it. Shuffle your library, then reveal cards from the top of it until you reveal a non-land card. Exile that card and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. But with politics, you can literally be like, okay, who wants to take the copy? And then people can be like, okay, I'm gonna copy to it something, and I promise you, whatever I copy, I will never use it against you. Make deals like that, and people can definitely cast something free, and you will be able to cast something twice. And the thing is, you can choose if you will do the second copy, if you will do the copy, but they are not allowed to deny it, so they will have to do it. They will have to cast whatever they pull. Also interesting to know. Oh, we got the new Storm card. Okay. Be careful with Storm. 5 mana, sorcery. Discard a card, then draw a card. When you discard a non-land card this way, Fury Encore deals damage equal to that card's mana value to target creature or planeswalker. Oh no! And you can keep doing this for every time you already cost something because of Storm. This is gonna be insane. This is no joke, gonna be extremely dangerous. This card can win the game. Late game, you got all those really expensive cards of 10 mana. You can just throw them away and shoot 10 mana every single time. And Storm also works with... Oh my god. Because it's a copy, so it will also work with him every single time. And it's 5 mana, so it will every time also create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Yikes. Yikes. Inferno Project. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this is the first one of the new cards that I'm not super excited about. It's for 7 mana, a 0/0 with Trample. Inferno Project enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is its total mana value of instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So the thing is, it doesn't have haste. That's the first thing that I noticed. And it will enter with the amount of sorcery spells and instances in your graveyard and become that amount. But it doesn't change. It won't get stronger if you would play more spells. So it's kind of clunky. Not gonna lie, this is not a great card. But that's fine. So far, one card that isn't great, I can live with that. Radiant Performance. Oh boy, here we go. 5 mana, a 2/2 with Flash. Human Wizard. When Radiant Performance enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, choose target spell or ability that target only a single permanent or player. Copy that spell or ability for each other permanent or player the spell or ability could target. Each copy targets a different one of those permanents and players. This card is disgusting. No joke, this card... yeah. It's really good. Nothing else to say about that. This card is insane. Oh boy. This deck is so strong. I'm really surprised by the cards that they are adding. The new cards are so good. Rionia, Fire Dancer. For 5 mana, 3/4 legendary creature. So this could become your new commander as well. Mono red. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, create X tokens that are copies of another target creature you control, where X is 1 plus the number of instant and sorcery spells you cast this turn. They gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. Mono red. I want to congratulate Mono red players. You guys just got probably one of your better new commanders. Bam. Yep. I want to see decks built around this. This card is 100% insane. I can definitely see a lot of mono red artifact decks being built around this human wizard. Do not sleep on this card. This card can 100% finish games. If you see this one being played, be ready to remove it before it's too late. Because it's at the beginning of combat on your turn. So it's gonna happen the same turn that you play this one. Careful. Trust me. Trust me on this one. People are gonna lose games because of this card. Oh boy. Jesus Christ, all the text, man. Okay, another new one for 5 mana as well. Rousing Refrain. Sorcery. Add 1 mana for each card in target opponent's hand. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Exile Rousing Refrain with 3 time counters on it. Jesus Christ. So it also has Suspense 3. Suspend 3. Really good, really good. Surge to Victory. What game are they playing? Huh. They're playing like a wizard game. Alright. Exile target instant and sorcery card from your graveyard. Creatures you control get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is its card's mana value. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player this turn, copy the exile card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Excuse me? Oh my god. Alright, that works. Reinterpret for 4 mana. Instance. Counter target spell. Oh, a new counter. You may cast a spell with an equal or less mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. Excuse me? Is this literally gonna become a staple? Oh my god. This card has so much value. It's a counter and you can play something for free? People are gonna hold this card until one of the other players is playing a really big creature, a really big spell of like 6 mana. You counter it for 4 and you can now play something for 6 mana for free. Insane value. Yeah. Yeah, this card will be going every single blue-red deck from now on. If you don't play this one, you're not optimizing your deck, for sure. Elementalist Palette. Our first artifact, also a new card. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, put 2 charge counters on Elementalist Palette. You can tap it, add 1 mana of any color, add 1 grey mana for each charge counter on it. Elementalist Palette spends this mana only on costs that contain X. If people are going to play decks with a lot of X cards on it, this card will be probably their strongest card in their deck. Yeah. I don't think that this card will be a big problem in this deck. But if you're building decks around X, this card will literally become the most dangerous thing on the field. Be careful with this one. Know what your opponents are playing. If they play a lot of cards with X in there, yeah, be very careful. This card can finish games as well. Well, be part of combos, I would say. So here we go. Okay, here we are. Oh yeah, but this one also already existed, I think. I don't think this is a new card. I think I've seen this one before. So here we go. Dig through time. Alright, so okay. Be very careful with metallurgic summonings. Really strong card as well. Great cards. Mind Desire. Oh my god. Nira. Dwarf Intellect. Talrand. Of course, Talrand is in this deck. Of course. Apex of Power for the 10 mana. Oh, Blasphemous Act. Really good. Other reprint of that one. Definitely welcome. Charmbreaker Devils. Really strong card as well. Do not underestimate this one. Duelist Mage. Natalie. Oh, we got the Planeswalker here as well. Jaya Ballard. Sunbird. Volcanic Vision. Wildfire Devil. Really strong card as well. Follow the Skybreaker. Experiment. Ooh, Pyromancer's Goggles. Let's go. Let's go. That's a great reprint. Heck yeah, great card. Right. Scavenger Ground. I'm really glad to see they're putting Scavenger Grounds in the standard decks. But this card is not great in this deck. Because it will exile all cards from all graveyards. I've already noticed that a lot of our cards are really depending on how many instants and sorceries are in our graveyard. So don't use this one too quickly. Only use it if people really are playing around their graveyard and it's like a last resort. I would use it. Otherwise it will also punish you, so be careful with that one. Okay. The field's probably one. Oh yeah, that's one of the new Strixhaven cards. So it's also showing the symbol. So that's how you know, like, it doesn't have the commander symbol, it does have the little owl of the Strixhaven set. Another one of those. one? Oh yeah, she's like on many of the arts as well. Really cool card as well. So you could also play her as a commander as well. If you really want to. I just noticed letter of acceptance is a letter in the form of an owl. That's funny. That's a big Harry Potter reference as well. Because normally it's an owl bringing the letter for you to be accepted to Hogwarts. And now it's like the letter is an owl. That's funny. I like it. Okay, I want to talk about this card. Prismari Campus. So it enters the battlefield tapped, so not amazing, but you can tap it for blue and red. But then something that I really do appreciate is for 4 mana, you can tap it and you can do Scry 1. This card is definitely not bad. I would even say that if you play red and blue decks, I would definitely not be afraid to auto-include this card. The Scry 1 on a land is always strong. Study Hell, I don't like this card. Definitely don't like this one. Brainstorm, definitely welcome. Living Lore. I'm not even gonna read this card. I just want to say, if you're going to remove any cards from the deck, remove this one. This one is bad. This one is a bad card. Just in general, bad card. Ponder, Terran Vision, Traumatic Vision, Treasure Cruise, another card that I don't really understand why they put it in here. Because Delve once again will be working against the whole strategy of this deck. Because we got so many cards that are like depending on how many instants and sorceries are in our graveyard. But what you could do is you could Delve and exile cards from your graveyard that are not instances or sorceries. But you still need like, you would be trying to go for Delve 7, so I don't know. Just remember that you don't do this too soon and you will regret it later on that you exiled all your instances and sorceries. Fatal Looting with Flashback, always nice. Fury Fall, Humble Defector. Mana Geyser, that's nice. That's really nice, they added the Mana Geyser. Oh, and Seething Song as well. Look at that. Damn, this deck can be crazy. I'm gonna like this one. Arcane Signet, nice. Arcane. Oh my, what? Look at all those mana rocks. Okay, we pretty much got all the mana rocks that we want. I even need to think like which mana rocks are we missing. Damn, that's great. Command Tower, Desert deck, Desert, Skyland, yes, Confused Lands, Reliquary Tower, always nice. Nice they added the Reliquary Tower as well. Let me show you, so those are the 2 new islands cards. They look fancy though. And then we got the Mountain Arts. These 2. I really like them. Looks fancy. So there we go. One more thing is the tokens that we got. Dragons. Well, Drake, sorry, not dragons. Drake treasure tokens. Elementals. And then copy. Oh, that's nice. We got a copy card token. Construct. And more elements. If you ask me, the card that I would play as a commander out of the box without touching anything on the deck is probably still going to be Zaffai, because a lot of the cards in this deck are gonna be very expensive, are gonna be the 5 mana cards, or even some of them are gonna be the 10 mana cost cards. So the deck is definitely built around him. Viron is probably gonna be my favorite of the 2 to play as a commander, but this deck is not built around her, so she's gonna be great as one of the 99 cards. But if you want to build her as a commander, you definitely should build another deck. around her with like way more cheaper cards that she's gonna be very big really easy and really quickly. There are a total of 15 cards that are only gonna be in this deck, so that's a lot of new cards, so that's definitely gonna be value for this deck to buy. Also keep in mind, in .5 team I also counted the 2 new commanders. I'm really happy with the reprints that are in there. Price wise, it's not gonna be something really crazy. Of course, it's hard to say what are gonna be the prices of the new cards from this deck. And if you're asking me, cards that I'm going to remove myself are gonna be Treasure Cruise. It's a great card, but it's not really working in the whole strategy of this deck. Then Living Lore is just a bad card. I really don't like Living Lore, so remove this one if you want to. And then Inferno Project. It's a cool idea, but it's missing something. For 7 mana, I want something better. So I'm definitely gonna remove this one. Now let's look at the deck list. What's inside of this deck? So we got 37 lands, so that's actually less land than normally. 37 is a really healthy amount of land, not too much. I would definitely not remove more land than that. Then we got 7 mana rocks, which is perfect. I love it. I love it. The mana rocks are great. You don't even need to add more to play this deck. There is 1 planeswalker, a crazy amount of creatures for a red and blue deck, because there are 20 creatures. But all of those creatures are going to work with your strategy, so definitely not too much. Sorcery spells, 21 sorcery spells. We got 8 instances, so maybe a bit more instances. There are not that many counters, so I would add more counters if I could. If I would change the deck, I would add more counters to play with this deck, just to be able to interact more with the deck. We got 9 artifacts. All of them are pretty good. Really happy with the artifacts. And then we got 3 enchantments. So that's pretty much everything that is inside of this deck. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Of course, there are many ways how you can upgrade this deck, depending on which of the commanders you're going to play. If you're going to play as Zaffai or if you're going to play as Viren, it's gonna be very depending on that. If you really want to focus on Zaffai, I would say really look at all the 5 mana cost instants and sorcery, because they are going to trigger and you're going to have so many more tokens. Also, cards that you could add to this deck is of course cards that are gonna do the same thing, that every time when you play an instance of sorcery something is gonna happen. So some that I really like is like the Young Pyromancer is going to add 1 more elementalist every time when you cast an instant sorcery spell. Then of course there is the Goblin Electromancer is gonna make your instant and sorcery cheaper. But they're also still gonna trigger because it's still the amount of mana on the card that is important for your commander. So definitely ways to make your instants and sorcery cheaper is gonna help. I'm really happy with this deck. I was a little bit afraid that we were gonna have a new deck that was gonna be like total bonkers like Miss Mizik, which was a really bad idea in my opinion. I do have the deck of Miziks. I really like it, but no one likes to play against an optimized Miziks deck. I think that this deck, it can be really strong, but it's not out of control. So I think this is a perfect example of a strong, ready to play deck that you can play with people that already made their decks themselves. So you will have a great time with this deck, I'm sure of it. So yeah, definitely go buy it if you haven't. It's worth it. If you want something that plays a lot of instants and sorceries and has a lot of trigger abilities, a deck that might be smarter than some of the players that are playing it, so definitely pay attention to all the triggers that are gonna happen. But that's pretty much it. So there we go. This was a set review of this really cool deck. So let me know, what cards are you going to add? Are you going to buy this deck? And if not, which one of the other 4 commander decks are you going to buy to add to your collection? Are you going to buy them all? And if you are interested to find them, you can also still order them
at the Hub game launch. Here's the link, definitely go check them out. They got a really cool shop. They also got a web shop where you can order all of these commanders. So I hope to see you next time. And do not forget, I'm Crash and I'm out. Whoop.